Thank you. I also want to thank Larry and Cindy for the invitation to come and speak, the importance of your involvement this fall. But I do want to clarify, because I had not clarified with Cindy and Larry that I'm here in my capacity as having worked on campaigns and managed campaigns, not in my capacity with Americans for Prosperity or its 17,000 members, because AFP works to propel issues and not candidates, so I want to be very careful when I present myself tonight and in other circumstances where I'm helping out candidates in my free time. I also want to thank the candidates here for stepping up, especially for county board. It's a tough campaign to undertake, and I think you all deserve a good deal of appreciation from all of us. It tends to fly below the radar when it comes to other elections, federal and state. So I want to thank you very much for doing that. And that said, this is an incredibly exciting year, and I'm going to talk some more about the intersection of your involvement and the success of these campaigns for the county board. But I'm going to do it in a roundabout fashion, because I also want to talk about the backdrop, and it all comes together. But you know, the reason that I'm genuinely excited by this year and being involved with candidates who are running and being a conservative is that in 2 days the health care ruling is going to come down from the Supreme Court. Expectation is that at least part of it will be struck down, and we're going to know, as Romney put it today, if the first 3 years of Obama's administration was a waste. The presidential race is coming to Minnesota, and if you've been paying attention to Twitter and to folks talking about it, the fact is that Minnesota is competitive. And the reason I say that, and the proof I offer, is no further than your television sets and the advertisements that Concerned Women for America are running right now. I know of 2 other groups that are also going to be coming in and weighing in on this race, and doing it in a high-profile, expensive manner, because what they're finding is that Minnesota is not unlike Wisconsin or Pennsylvania, a traditionally blue-collar state, that Obama is having a very difficult time connecting with voters in. And apparently, the poll numbers are just are staggering in certain states like Minnesota. This is a competitive state. We have a chance to stem the federal deficit that's been spiraling out of control. And whatever the outcome of the Supreme Court ruling, the result of your actions and the actions of the Tea Party has been to shine a spotlight on the unconscionable, illogical expansion of the federal government. It's untenable. We can't continue with it. And consequently, a different administration holds the promise of reducing the size and scope of the federal government, thereby halting, in worst cases, the contraction of the private sector, and offering sustained growth in the future. Nothing less than our future is truly at stake this fall. And on the state level, we've witnessed both the best and, in a very few select cases, the worst in legislators and the staff of the majority. And we don't want to dwell on the worst, because what we need to focus on is that the message that needs to be delivered this fall is that Governor Dayton's lust for increased spending, his drive to take away your hard-earned dollars, was largely halted by some of the people in the room, the representative over here. Despite the differences amongst the center-right legislators that lead our state, the aberrant Keynesian philosophy of Governor Dayton's was not allowed to take hold, and his cronies have not been able to take apart our state in the fashion that they would like to, in the interest of their liberal perspective of the world. And if the governor's party gains control of the legislature, we all lose. We lose our money through the taxes we're going to be paying, our prosperity, our jobs, our livelihood of the small business community that are going to be under attack. So this fall it's so important, not just on a local level and not on a federal level, but on the state level, that we make sure that that Governor Dayton is stopped and that his cronies are stopped and do not take control of the legislature. To the extent that we can, I want to separate the state and federal campaigns that we're witnessing from the candidates we're here to listen to tonight. If you're a candidate, can you just raise your hand? Whatever, half the room are candidates. It's good though, there's a lot of people in the room. There's one job that I did not have Larry mention when he introduced me, because I wanted to offer myself up as a test case of what can go wrong when you're running for a county board and when you have a candidate for the county board. In 2008, I ran for the Hennepin County Board. Unlike most of the hardworking county commissioners in Minnesota, in Hennepin County, the county commissioners earn over $90,000 a year. All right. Now, take into consideration the fact that they only work 2 days a week. Things need to change in Hennepin County, and a number of counties. Change also has to occur, but in 2008, that was where I was passionate. I wanted to see something happen in Hennepin County where the government truly began to represent the people that they were serving. Additionally, they subscribe to the notion that county government should be everything to everyone. And the most recent example of that is the county board president, Mike Opat, is talking about getting involved in the management of schools. Those of you who are running, those of you who are familiar with the county government, understand how much mandates take over your job or the job of the county board. The state and the federal government pass down the mandates. They expect the county government to execute certain actions and ostensibly should be funding them, but they don't often do that. And so county government really serves a good, strong focus in our lives, but not many people know about it. Not many people pay attention to it. And the more that county governments get out of control, the more that we lose. And that was the reason that I threw my hat in the ring. I earned the Republican endorsement, 70% on the first ballot. But two problems arose. The first problem was that I got the Republican endorsement in the worst GOP year in decades. And that meant that my signs were right next to John McCain's in Hennepin County. That meant my literature, thankfully volunteers did help out a little bit, but they would drop my literature with Republican candidates. John McCain didn't do so well in Minnesota, and he certainly didn't do very well in Hennepin County. The other problem was that I had managed campaigns before. I knew what I was doing. Candidates cannot run their own campaigns. It does not work well. And I think that I am a good test case for that. I'm a good example of that. When you're the campaign, or when you're the candidate, you need to be the best candidate that you can, not managing your campaign. And many of my friends, many of the activists realized I managed campaigns and other candidates needed help in what was turning out to be a horrible year for our candidates. I only raised about half of what my opponent raised, who, by the way, happens to be the popular liberal mayor of the largest city in the district in the year of Obama. So I was working uphill, and the reason I bring up my history as a candidate, which was short-lived and hopefully will never be relived, was that there is one universal issue, which is that candidates can't do it on their own. And then that there's another issue that thankfully will not apply this year. This isn't the year of Obama. This is the year we get to judge Obama on his awful handling of the economy, on Obamacare, complicity in Pelosi's cap and trade project, who, by the way, we also get to judge Tim Walz's participation in all of these policies. The candidates and incumbents that we have here who are running either for election or re-election They need to cut through the clutter. There is going to be increased activity in the presidential race in Minnesota. There is going to be increased activity in the legislative races. Governor Dayton's ex-wife wants to buy this election for her ex-husband. It's astounding. But the county board candidates have to make it through all of this background noise. And they can't do it alone. They need donations to pay to deliver their message. And that means getting their literature printed. It doesn't mean a lot of money, but they need your help. They also need volunteers to drop that literature in the weeks before the primary and the general elections. They need authors for letters to the editor. They need other volunteers to put in signs on their behalf. There is so much to be excited about as a conservative right now, and I hope all of you are. And I know I'm not the most excitable speaker at the podium, but I am genuinely excited. I am genuinely looking forward to this fall and all of the work that's going to take place. And if you don't engage and support the candidates of your choice for county board, or city offices, or state legislature, in 10 years we are going to be right back to the brink of economic catastrophe as a result of bad policies from politicians who should not have been in there in the first place. And while I'm not going to endorse candidates here, I think it'd probably be bad precedent for someone from Eden Prairie to come down and tell you who to vote for. But also in my role for Americans for Prosperity, I also try and avoid publicly endorsing candidates. I do challenge all of you to speak to the candidates here tonight, to figure out who it is that you're going to spend your time and energy with to make sure that they get elected, because if they don't, this is not just going to affect Olmsted County, it's going to affect the whole state. So I challenge you to get involved here. And I also want to thank again Larry and Cindy for being so supportive, not just of me, but of Americans for Prosperity. Thank you for the invitation to come on down. And I'll stick around for a little bit, but then I'm going to head home and get back to work. So thank you.